I wanted to record a copy of this presentation I'm actually giving out in London tomorrow, and I wanted to record this today so I can schedule it for tomorrow night. So after I've left on Tuesday morning, I can put the post out and I can embed this, because I don't know if it's getting recorded or streamed or whatever. So the video replies are open if you want to reply back to this presentation. Join up on PEPO, just scan the QR code or go to smarturl.it/get-PEPO. So I was asked about a week ago if I would fill in for a presentation for the CEO of PEPO.com, who's also the originator or one of the team, or the managing director, Jason, because he's in India tomorrow and he needed somebody to cover his presentation, and so I did. And I haven't really been given much of a narrative or a presentation style or anything, even the time length or anything. So Jason just said, make it your own, keep it authentic. So as a content creator in this space for the last 3 years, I'm doing exactly that. And so I'm going to be covering a little bit about OST and a bunch of other stuff as well. So I want to cover quickly where my head was at and where it is now. So I used to be, I think, 80% admin, 20% creator. So I would spend so much time trying to keep websites up, making sure plugins were working. There was a lot more faffing with maintenance, keeping a site up, than there was actually being a creator. So I feel like all my time was being taken up with admin. I mean, there was hacks with the plugins all the time, issues with privacy leaks on things like Facebook. And another issue with that as well is that all of my sites and all the social sites I was using were all centralized. So if they went down for any reason, then there was no access to that, or I couldn't send a tweet to somebody and say, oh yeah, the site's fell over, but you can see the content over here. Now that doesn't tend to happen very much on a big site like YouTube, but on a website, then that's a big problem if you've got like hundreds or thousands of posts. So I switched to this newer model in the last 3 years, which is 20% admin, so very, very low amount of admin that I need to do, and 80% more creator or creative, spending more creativity on, I want to come up with an idea and actually getting it out there and executing on it. So there's three main things that have really happened to me in the last 3 years, and that is immutability. So my uptime has gone up. It's distributed, so there's lots of different nodes that have a copy of my video. And then decentralized, so instead of it just being fb.com or facebook.com, there's steem, steemit.com, there's busy.org, there's steampeak.com. So there's 3 different ways just there to get to my content on the Steem blockchain. So there's been a big switch in the last 3 years from 80% to 20%, and it's made me more productive as a content creator. So this opened me up to the idea of dapps, which are decentralized applications. Distributed applications often have a incentive behind them. So with Steem, it's the Steem blockchain, it's the Steem token or SBD, and Steem. And with OST, for instance, it's PEPO coins are minted via OST, and you'll find that lots of blockchains will have some kind of incentive for you to be able to earn it. You could mine it, or you could, like, for instance, blog on Steem and earn it from doing a post. So this is kind of what they look like. This is just information pulled back from the Steem blockchain. This is on Steemit. This is where I do lots of my blog posts, or just like putting blogs on the internet. So I don't have WordPress anymore. I've removed WordPress in mostly, apart from a few little client and side projects. This is the same content on another front end called busy.org, and again on steampeak.com, but it's all the same blockchain. There's just 3 different ways to be able to get to it. So if any of those sites fell over, I'd still be able to send somebody to a different site to be able to look at the content, because it's just being retrieved from a blockchain on lots of different nodes. Now, the wonderful thing about decentralized networks is that you can take ownership of your own stuff. So you can build it out in the way that you want and own it the way you want. So you can build the front end, the community, the forums, all of that stuff you can personalize to the way you want it to look. So one of the big things that's happened in the last, I say, 2 months, is that Steem has brought out this new platform called beta.steemit, which is where all the communities is based. So you can actually go in there now and set up your own community for your own business. It might be for, I don't know, tax advisors. This is who I'm doing a presentation for. And you can take complete control over that immutable place on the web. So it becomes your controllable forum. You can make mods, you can mute people, you can remove all of the stuff that you don't want, the unnecessary stuff, and you can make it as tight as ship if you want. And it's immutable. And people are like, well, what do you mean by immutable? Like, well, one of the issues with the web that we're seeing today is that a lot of this stuff is either getting takedown requests, or it's getting removed from the internet, or the site goes down. Whereas when you store a copy of a blog post inside of one of these communities, it's stored on a node, which are called witness nodes, which are distributed all the way through the world. So there's like hundreds of these. So if one fell over, the network doesn't fall over. It's kind of I was going to say polymorphic, but that's the wrong word to use. It's more reliable because it's distributed around. So it's a bit like the early days of the internet, where you had like three different nodes between each other. If one of them got taken out by a war or a rocket, that's one of the original usages of the internet, was ARPANET, then the other two would work. So it's a pretty similar thing. So blogging sorted, it's reliable, it's incentivized, you can earn Steem for posting, and there's lots of different dapps on there that you can play with. So in my journey in the last few years, I also found that there was dapps that are services that I prefer over centralized one, and one of them was Steem Hunt. So I spent nearly 2 years as a moderator on Steem Hunt, and we earned tokens for being a moderator, and we would check through all of the different submissions of people's products that they wanted to put onto Steem Hunt, making sure there was no duplicates, making sure they fit into the product guidelines, and a project that I really enjoyed working on as a moderator. And it taught me a lot about tokens and tokenomics in terms of stacking those tokens in these different blockchain communities. Again, same blockchain, multiple projects, multiple tokens possible on that chain. So they then, after doing about a year or so on Steem Hunt, the second project that they had in their list was Review Hunt, which is like a decentralized product hunt. If you've ever heard of product hunt, where people talk about products they found on the internet, same kind of thing, but you're incentivized in tokens by companies who put their products up on the site for you to then go and review, and then you get allocated a certain amount of tokens based on the maker's feedback. So they go through and they say, yes, this is great, and then you get, once the project is completed, you get a payout of tokens. So the biggest takeaway from all of this is that I realized that I was moving away from centralized to decentralized, but I was doing something much bigger, which was I was getting incentivized for spending time in those communities. So as a content creator, that's completely changed the way that I interact with the web, because it used to be kind of fire and forget. I used to put things on Twitter and YouTube and hope for the best that I'd get some kind of interaction with that, or somebody would notice and somebody would hire me to do something similar for them. Whereas this, it's less of a gamble, because I'm being incentivized to be part of the community by the algorithm that runs that blockchain. And then there's people obviously in those communities, in those little niche communities, that are like, I like this content, I'm going to give it an upvote. Obviously there is people on there that do downvotes as well, but on the majority for the last 3 years, it's been really useful for me to learn about blockchain by doing stuff that I would do normally anyway. So the other thing is PEPO, right? PEPO's come along and kind of made using blockchain and crypto video apps so much easier, because a lot of the heavy lifting stuff that frustrates you or the average user with blockchain is that it's kind of complicated. You know, if it's not having like super long passwords or having more than one passwords, it's having to maintain security and a wallet and all of these things. So that can turn a lot of people off if it's not as easy as something like Instagram or TikTok, something they can fire up, get into, get their fix for the day of photos or taking photos and then get out. So PEPO's done that, and it's the first one on the Apple App Store that got accepted for the first video crypto app. So this is kind of what it looks like. It looks very similar in some ways to Instagram or TikTok. You've got the usual features, being able to record a video, liking, sending, holding onto an icon and doing likes for a video, interacting with people. But also you can do things like purchase in-app coins. Now, buying into a token economy is sometimes really difficult because you have to have a digital currency to start with to convert it into another digital currency. And not all exchanges support the token that you want to buy. So the genius of PEPO is that they have got in-app purchases for their PEPO coin, and it feels very much like buying XP in a game. So if you've ever bought XP in a game to upgrade your character, it's exactly the same as that, apart from you're buying PEPO coins, and those coins are a store of value inside the wallet of your app, and the wallet is like securely pushed away at the side. You don't have to like be a complete blockchain nerd to know how it works. So that's pretty awesome because it takes a lot of the pain points out of the way. So this is kind of what it looks like. You have like this activity board, very simple. You can see where people have sent you a little bit of PEPO coin, or this example showing like maybe 5,000 PEPO coin for a job. So maybe at some point I can hire people to do certain tasks for me and then pay them with the token inside of this economy. So there's scope for doing big activations and bounties on there. There was a big contest over Christmas, which I came second on, which I was really chuffed about. And we also raised some money for the Australia fires last week. Collectively, everybody just donated PEPO coins to one particular post, and then that was 10x'd by Jason, and then we've give some money to the firefighters there. So this is showing you the PEPO coins sending it. So you can see your balance of coins there. You can see how many PEPO coins equals the USD value, and that's like up to date with the currently trading price. And then once you've acquired enough of these PEPO coins, you can turn them into what's called a unicorn, which is like a stable coin. And that price will not be affected by volatility of the market going up and down. It's a stable coin because it's always going to be one PEPO coin is $1. So you can see on the right here, we've got a way to take those unicorns out and spend them in a PEPO store if we want. So we've supported Amazon and Brewdog and Uber Eats, and a whole bunch of other ones are going to be added later this year. So I wanted to put a little note in here because I've been asking Jason if there's going to be a possibility for people to add their own services in there, because I think that's a really good point of capture for people who've acquired a certain amount of tokens and then want other services. Being able to buy those services in that PEPO store would be super valuable, because also it's going to be a conversation starter. Imagine if somebody buys my course and then we talk about it on PEPO, and I can take questions back and forth, and then people could also upvote those replies with PEPO coins as thanks and appreciation for the response. So obviously we're talking about money here, so we have to make sure there's a certain level of security in there. And again, this is something that PEPO has done, which I think is awesome, and more companies should do it, is they've looked at what is the best in class service out there right now. Instead of reinventing the wheel and coming up with their own wallet, they've used Genosis Safe, which is this verified contract, very secure wallet that they're even putting certain amounts of money into it every month to prove how secure this thing is. So I love that PEPO is confident enough in somebody else's technology. Obviously it's been like verified and triple checked, and that's very important to have that formal verification. But just the fact that as a company, like, this is the best in class, we'll integrate it into our service, just helps the whole community. It gets Genosis seen and PEPO gets seen in return. What else? So even PEPO has all the features in there that you would expect of a blockchain product, but it does it in a really subtle way. So you've still got the 12-word seed recovery. The login on the phone is a 6-digit pin, which is the 6-digit pin for unlocking the Genosis Safe, which is integrated. It's really slick. It's you wouldn't even know that you're using the Genosis Safe because they use the SDK, and it's all styled to look like PEPO. It's a secure wallet, and I kind of feel it's like the crypto TikTok. So 2020, I really want to use this to build my own app, create my own token, track incentives for creators, and also look at using ipfs, which is interplanetary file systems, for video storage as well, building out an app on OST built on the legacy of what I've seen from PEPO so far, and reading through their documentation, which looks half human compared to a lot of the blockchain stuff that I've seen previously. So I'm going to be in a lot of different side chains. I'm not just going to be concentrating on one blockchain. I'm not a maximalist where it's just Bitcoin and nothing else. I feel like I use Steem for blogging, PEPO for video conversations, dsound if I want to store audio on the web instead of SoundCloud if I can't afford to pay the premium pro account every year. And I really want to use ipfs more because I believe it's technology that we need an alternative to centralized platforms, and decentralizing video hosting is appealing to me because when I first got into video on the web, it was very difficult to host without it being expensive. So another area where tokens are really taking off is for Ethereum based artists who are doing artworks and selling them on the web. And one of the ones that I really like is superrare.co. You can see that there's thousands of artwork being collected over there. They've got nearly 1,000% resale value, which is just insane. They've earned nearly $314,000 from 154 countries. So this is not just like a little niche thing. This is, imagine being an artist at home who doesn't travel or can't afford a high street store to display their artwork. Imagine having such low overheads that you can concentrate on your work and have all of your payments kind of done decentralized and secure in a wallet. Maybe you buy into PEPO and store your Ethereum, changed, atomically swapped Ethereum into PEPO coins, and then spread that value around with other people. This is what it looks like on Twitter. This is somebody who's sold a piece of art here for $86. It's just they tend to post on Known Origin, is another a site that does pictures for sale. And you can see that every day there's posts coming out from people who've sold a piece of art or a brand new piece of art that's being put up for sale. You no longer have to go to the high street to have a look in an art gallery. I know that sounds like a terrible experience not to actually go out and physically see it in the flesh, but this is what people are doing now. This is how they're bringing in an income. So this builds on top of something that's happening massively, which is decentralized markets, which are NFTs or non-fungible tokens. Sorry, I get that wrong all the time. They're not mutually interchangeable by their individual specs. So basically, if you buy it digitally, then you own it, and it's provable mathematically that you paid for it. You exchanged value with another person who's often an Ethereum address tied to the account name where the art was sold from, and it's unique. So they may be only like 5 copies or 10 copies that are available, and then what tends to happen is people have a portfolio online of their artwork that they bought, and then there's a potential for upsell or selling it later on. So there's a lot of value being exchanged around in these accounts, and then some of this stuff is just sitting there as if you bought a piece of art in real life, and the accumulation of its worth over a period of time. I quickly want to speed up and end up here because I didn't know how much time I'm going to have on this presentation. So I want to kind of talk about one of a kind moments, because I feel like NFTs are like one-off moments. When you buy something, you're buying it because you're buying it for the exclusivity. I want to talk about a one-off moment that happened to me being in Chelsea, New York City. I don't know why I was there, but I stayed with a friend in Meatpacking in Chelsea, and I was watching television, and then all of a sudden there was this big news report that this plane had gone down in the Hudson. So I was just thinking it was just like a light aircraft or something like that. Well, it turns out it was the US Airways flight 1549, which there was a big film made about it, Tully, I think it was called. And it completely changed social media forever. This is what it looked like in the Hudson. And I believe that the person who took this photo was either on another boat looking back, or if it was somebody on a jetty thing standing out looking on it. But I believe that the person who took this was somebody who come off that flight. Now, this was the first time that I'd heard of back then where it was tweeted, the image was tweeted way before news networks heard about it. So this kind of changed everything for me, because this photo got like hundreds of thousands of views in a very short amount of time. This was before Twitter had picture support. There was a separate site called TwitPic, and you would send it via TwitPic, and it would get stored on their servers, and then it would get added to the tweet. And this was the first time that systems like Oh, I have to go back a bit. Can I go back? Yeah. This is the first time that news agencies weren't there first and got the photo out first. And I think it really turned social media on its head, because it showed for the first time that news networks couldn't be as fast as somebody who was actually part of the scene of the incident or the accident. And this person just pulled out their mobile phone, took a photo of it, and then it just went viral faster than any other news network. TwitPic's gone now. It's all like joined into Twitter. But I wanted to put this up because I think it says a lot about where we are with centralized storage like YouTube and decentralized video storage. Is that a fully loaded terminal from Reuters cost a couple of $1,000s a month back then. This is like 2013. And I got the impression from hanging around with a few people who were into news agencies and journalists at the time that this really kind of sent a big shockwave through the news system, that why should we pay a couple of $1,000s a month for breaking news when social media is breaking news first. And so this kind of sent me on a journey that early on, that at some point the value of news is going to drop dramatically, and also your content ownership is going to drop dramatically. Who has access or ownership to the content when everybody's got a supercomputer in their pocket? So that's kind of just a little bit of backstory about uniqueness, because I think owning your own stuff uniquely, having your own token, is going to be a big thing in the years to come. I see all of this blockchain stuff as the new digital CV. It's all verifiable. You don't have to have 800 CVs stacked in paper on your desk. You can cross-reference and talk to these services. There's going to be better front ends to find out information from Steem and from OST, I'm sure. I also think we're going to atomically swap. If you don't know what atomically swap is, do a search for it. But it's changing one token value into another token value. I think that might be really interesting in the years to come from a geolocation kind of perspective. You know, if I'm in one area and I need to go into a club and I have tokens in this kind of value economy, but I can change them to this value economy, and this is the exchange rate, and I can get the tokens and then scan an NFT or a RFID at a door and get in. That's kind of interesting to me, having an AI advisor be like, this is your portfolio, but if you exchange a bit of this, bit of this, bit of this, then you can get access to this club or this venue or the VIP section. I think that could be something that happens. I also think there's a marketplace here for portfolios, for concierges. So brand new people who've never really invested in things before, suddenly having all of these digital tokens, having these shared value of the amount of time they've put into these communities, having a manager look after those things. And I also think that those incentives are a major part of us relearning or educating ourselves about not giving away our data. You know, the big Facebook leak was big news everywhere. And I think anything we can do to take back governance on that is going to be good for us all. That's it, really. Thanks for watching this. I do appreciate it. Do scan the QR code. Ask me any questions you want on PEPO. Smarturl.it/get PEPO. I'll see you soon. Bye.